Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog for the Rabbit Hole Designs December release Inspiration Hop Day 2. I will have a link down below in the description box to my blog so that you can have access to the giveaway information as well as the discount code information, and then you can go hop along. So this is the stamp set I'm showing you today. It's called Heart Dance. Isn't that adorable? Oh, I'm excited to stamp it up and to color it in. To start, I am going to just take a piece of pink cardstock that I have from my stash, and I'm going to use the Diamond Flower Stencil. This was a previous release. I'm putting that into my splatter box, and I'm going to spritz that with some picked raspberry Distress Oxide spray. I didn't go crazy because I didn't want my background to be too heavy with color, but I am going to show you a little tip here. Once you've sprayed onto a stencil like this, you can spritz it with water, and I'm going to grab a piece of, just a scrap of watercolor cardstock. And so the negative of this stencil is going to be super pretty. So let me show you what that will look like. And then you can use that on another project. Now I'm going to stamp out my image. And this image is actually pretty big. I love it. I think it's just so cute. I love this little line of images that the Rabbit Hole Designs has. So I stamped out the image as well as the sentiment. And I'm stamping onto some Copic friendly paper using Memento Tuxedo black ink because that is Copic friendly as well. I'm going to start off with some E00. So honestly, when I saw these images, I knew I had to color them like my daughter and her boyfriend. I just thought these were way too cute. And so that was my challenge, was to color them like the two of them. So my mid-tone, well, I guess I'm only using two colors for my skin tones here. I'm using E00 and E11. And then I'll blend that out just a little bit, just adding shadowing where I think it might go. And I'll do the same thing on the little girl. And I think it's cute how she's barefoot. I think it's really sweet. So then again, I'll do the shadowing for her as well in the same way. Just putting it where I think that it might look nice. And then I'll blend that out also. This paper's fun because it has a little bit of shimmer to it. And it's very nice for Copic coloring. For the pants, I decided to make them gray, so I'm using C4 and C6, and then I'll blend that out with my C4. And then for the top, I'm going to try and make that black, but I'm not going to use a black Copic. I'm going to use darker gray. So I started with C6, and then I will bring in the darker C8, and so it'll look like a very dark gray or almost black shirt. For her dress, I'm using R20 and R32, just because I thought that would match pretty nicely with my background. And I'll do that on her bow as well. And then just add a little bit of flicking shading. I find that when I do some flicking for my shading and shadowing, it blends out even that much easier. Depending on what kind of a line you want. If you want it to be a little bit more harsh, you may not want to do flicking. But if you want it to blend out subtly, flicking is definitely a good technique to use while Copic coloring. So for her hair, it's Y15 and Y26. It's funny how when you put down that Y15, you think, boy, that is sure a yellow color. But then you add that Y26 and it just makes it like this beautiful golden blonde. For his hair, I'm using YR14. You guessed it, he's a redhead. And then I'm going to come in with some YR18. I'm sorry I didn't put that Copic up on, or the cap up on the screen for you. Sometimes I do that when I'm just in mode. I just hold on to the caps sometimes. And then I'll blend that out just a little bit. And then I fussy cut that out. I want to add a heart to the background, so I am using the Simon Says Stamp Wonky Hearts die, and then I just cut that one out, and I'm going to kind of set it there, place the little girl and boy where I want them to be, and I'm going to grab the solid hearts from this stamp set. So there are solid hearts and there are also outline hearts, which are cool. You have options. And I'm going to ink that up with that picked raspberry Distress Oxide ink, and that shows up really nicely on dark cardstock, so that's why I stamped that the way I did. And I'll grab out my paper trimmer, and I am going to trim down my sentiment. I didn't stamp it straight, so I can't really line it right up to the top. But now that I've cut that line, I can line it up a little bit better. My card base is some Not Your Mama's heavyweight cardstock that I had cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5.5 inches. This will be a side folding A2 size card. But before I start adhering everything to the front of that, I'm going to just adhere my card panel. So I took another piece of that dark gray cardstock. And that's going to end up being the complete size of an A2 size card. So that is 4¼ by 5½ inches. And then I cut down my pink panel to be 4 inches by 5¼ And now I am going to put some foam tape on the back of my sentiment and also on the back of the little characters. I'm using my glass mat to line up my sentiment, and then I'll flip that over and trim off all the excess. And then peel off all that backing paper on the back of the characters. And I was very heavy-handed with my foam tape in this situation. I didn't want it to buckle at all while going through the mail. And then I'll just stick those two down. Before I adhere those to the front of the card, I am going to stamp on the inside. Sometimes it can seem like a little extra work to do something like this, but it always adds that extra touch, and I love doing it. So I'm just going to close the door of the Misti, pick up the stamp, and then I'm going to ink that up with that same, once again, that same picked raspberry Distress Oxide ink, because that way it'll add some cohesion from the front and the inside. I'll adhere my panel to the card base with some liquid glue, and then that's going to finish off our card. So simple. And then those little characters are so cute. So this is what it looks like. Now, as I said, this is a part of a blog hop for the December release, inspiration hop for the Rabbit Hole designs. So I'm going to have a link down below. Be sure to head to my blog so that you can go check out everybody else's blog and that you can go check out the details of the giveaway and the discount. And as always, thanks so much for stopping by.